Okay, so NAL Playday number 5 for Stage 3 of the 2021 season is coming up tomorrow being September 22nd, 2021. So let's do predictions, but first I want to say a couple things. First of all, so I changed this to make some of it darker as was requested, but I think it looks hideous this way. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not as bad as I think, but like the black, I guess I could just make all this black just the same gray color, but I didn't want to make like all this gray because the color's gonna change anyways, and I could just fill in the rest of this to be gray. I'm not sure, or I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal for a lot of people, but I understand the sentiment of when you're looking at a screen in a dark room, or sometimes not even a dark room, just staring at a screen when it's like all white. Like I always do dark mode on stuff when applicable. But let me know if you think this looks hideous or if you like what I'm doing here or whatever. I'll probably be doing some different methodology next time, but maybe something similar. And the second thing, the video I was going to do today, I was just going to put out this video tomorrow because I knew that I won't have the recap until Thursday, and I'm trying to do one video per day. The video I was going to do today was I was going to go over the ages of all the NAL players, but I mean, for the people who watch this, if any pros watch this or whatever, do you think it's weird? Do you not want me to talk about that? Even if you're not a pro, do you think it's weird for me to talk about that? Because most of them, it's public information. Like I just looked on Wikipedia and it had all of them except for like 6 or 7. And then the rest of them, I found the information, I looked on Twitter and I did a little bit of research and I found either the date without the year or just the age and then some combination of them. So I was able to deduce most of it for most people, but there's a couple I wasn't able to find all the information on. But so again, let me know if you would like to see that or if you think I should not make that video, because it's probably not that weird, but maybe there's a reason that some of the birthdays aren't on there. I imagine for a few of them, like 2 of them that weren't on Wikipedia, I think were like Jay and Young Alec, and they're newer players, and especially newer players to the NAL. So yeah, I mean, some feedback on that if you like. Right, so let's do predictions. The games we have coming up for Playday 5 are Dark Zero versus Sonics, Astralis versus TSM, Oxygen versus Space Station, and Mirage versus Beast Coast. These look to be some pretty good games overall. Dark Zero versus Sonics, that's sort of a grudge match, which always has gone one way. So I think Dark Zero posted, like yesterday or something, on Twitter, something about 800 something days of never having lost to the Sonics, and so they're on a streak, and then also maybe never having lost even before. I don't know if it's just a streak or if that's just since the first time they played. Right, so I wasn't doing formal predictions last stage, but I thought SQ was gonna win, even though I don't remember which Playday it was that they played, but like Dark Zero was not losing. I think it wasn't that far in to where the record wasn't like really impressive win-loss wise, disregarding the overtime thing. But I don't know, I thought Sonics might win it. They were looking pretty good. And they still did well last stage, of course, ending up in 3rd place, even above Dark Zero, despite losing to Dark Zero. So, right, who do I think is going to win? Also in stage 1, of course, I just said, but Dark Zero beat Sonic 7-4, so they didn't even require overtime for that game. So Dark Zero has, in the past, had Sonic's numbers. The Sonic's number, yeah. So, and of course, over the course, I think I mentioned this previously, but over the course of the history of the teams, since the beginning, I mean, the only players that have been on the roster since the beginning of that streak, I guess, are just like Super on the Sonics and then Eclipse and Hyper on Dark Zero. The other 7 players out of the 10 are different. But not so in just these recent games that they played. Whoops. Don't know why. Excel does that sometimes. Or Google Sheets, I should say. It's not technically Excel, right? But okay, yeah, and so they just picked up Canadian, Dark Zero did recently, and they've played now 2 games, and they were 2-0, but they did get taken to overtime by TSM, and Sonics is 2-1, so they missed out on 3 points, but they've played 1 additional game. So who do I think is gonna win, right? My heart wants to say Sonics. It's gonna be tough to see this go to like a 1,000 day win streak or something insane like that. But Dark Zero looks really good. This could go either way. Like I really wish we'd seen at least 1 or 2 more games from Dark Zero so far, because who did they play in their first game? It was Mirage, right? And it was a pretty good 7-4. They could have beat him harder, but 7-4 is still a pretty decisive scoreline. Didn't even go to max regulation. it's a good win, but Mirage isn't that hot at the moment. And then they beat TSM, who, again, and partially because of that loss, because to Dark Zero I'm just about to refer to, they haven't looked the hottest, but we are not that many Playdays deep. We are just about to pass halfway, I guess, with the 5th one, because, well, there's no true halfway point because it's an odd number of Playdays, but I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go with Dark Zero here. It could go either way. I want to say Sonics, but Dark Zero hasn't lost, and they look really good. And Sonics, I mean, I'd probably say Sonics if they hadn't lost to Xset, which was surprising. So there are certainly some gaps in the armor there. I don't think they're gonna let something like that happen again, but it certainly has happened. So we'll have to see. Right, I'm gonna go with Dark Zero for that game. The next game, Astralis versus TSM. In the first stage, Astralis, and again, then known as Disrupt Gaming, defeated TSM 7-5. And this is a stage where TSM was sort of struggling and Astralis was looking pretty good. They ended up in 4th, where TSM ended up in, where did they end up? 5th, I guess. So they were only 1 point ahead of them. And this was an important game. If this had gone, if TSM had taken one more round, taken it to overtime, then Astralis would lose out on a point, guaranteed, and TSM would get a point guaranteed. So even if Astralis won, they would have been lower in the standings, right? TSM would be 13 and Astralis would be at 12, and then even if TSM won, they'd go to 14 and Astralis would be down to 11 under this particular circumstance I'm describing. Okay, so, but I mean, you gotta go with TSM, right? Astralis, like, you want them to be good. They just got picked up by a huge org and they've been a promising team and they've had relative success. Like, they just barely missed out on qualifying for the major last stage, and the previous stage they would have qualified for the major if there was a major, seeing as that they got 4th place. But TSM would just look better. They destroyed Beast Coast and they just narrowly lost to Dark Zero in overtime. And who else did they play? They lost to whom? It was Oxygen, right? Yeah, who are just like the best team at the moment. So I'm gonna go with TSM, but now we talk about Oxygen, right? Oxygen versus Space Station Gaming. So in the first stage, Oxygen defeated Space Station 8-7, and that was even a weekend SSG. This is right after Canadian left, and they had to have Luke as a stand-in, and it just wasn't ideal circumstances for them. And Space Station still took it all 15 rounds, although they did lose. Unfortunate for them, of course. And Oxygen took the game. Then next stage, and this is also, and not for any reason that I can point to specifically, like the Canadian thing, but Oxygen was just much weaker in stage 2. They were the #1 team in stage 1, and then they were pretty low down, ending up in 6th place in stage 2. And part of that was they got destroyed by Space Station. I mean, 7-1, that's not close at all. I don't remember where the first game was played, but that game, that was a Chalet game, I'm pretty sure. I think so. And Space Station smashed them. But now, Space Station took a loss to Sonics, and Oxygen is thus far undefeated. Who's gonna win the game? So, this could be the game where Oxygen finally falls. Okay, and alright, so I meant to fix this. This should, Sonics should be above. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'll do it later. I fixed it on my other sheet. Sonics should be above Space Station, and it's not gonna matter because probably well, I mean, but they both could get the same number of points, but Sonics has the tiebreaker over SSG, so I think I might have showed that in a previous video and not said anything because I didn't realize it before. But yeah, Sonics are 2nd place right now, and SSG is 3rd, if anybody cares. But because, you know, it doesn't really matter, we're not at the end of the stage, so I'm sure they'll be differentiated. But if it does come down to it, Sonics does have the tiebreak over SSG. So yeah, SSG Oxygen. You know, in my heart, I'm an SSG fan. I want to vote for SSG, but the numbers, it suggests that I should vote for Oxygen, except for the fact that they just, and this wasn't that long ago, this was just last stage, and it was like, I don't know, later in the stage, or maybe like in the middle-ish of the stage, something like that. They smashed them, they destroyed them, like they had their number, and Oxygen, when they were the best team and SSG was struggling, they barely beat them. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say Space Station. I guess. Right, so Oxygen they beat TSM, which is good. Good team to beat. They beat Mirage, which is fine. I mean, Mirage has been struggling. They beat Astralis, who also a decent team to beat, but they're also not doing the best. And they beat Beast Coast. So technically, they've got most of their quote-unquote farm games out of the way. The games against the lower, you know, not farm games. They're not, nothing's ever a freebie, but The games that you'd expect to win more easily than the other ones, they've already done 3 of them. They haven't played Xset, but they played Beast Coast, Mirage, and Astralis. So, and SSG, they lost to Sonics, but they beat Mirage. Okay, wait, am I about to look foolish? They beat Mirage, and who did they just play? Oh, and Astralis. Okay, so they actually, so the proof is not in the pudding here because they have played, so 2 of their 3 games they've played against the lower down teams, and 3 of Auction's 4 games they've played against the lower team. So it can be a little bit of a wipe. So I think with that seeming more or less equal, and yeah, I'm clicking on the wrong thing, and their history, I think I'm gonna give it to Space Station. And then also, right, SSG lost to Sonics, which are at the moment a higher tier team than TSM, who is Auction's other win. So by, you know, the laws of equivalent values and whatnot, you could maybe say it's still plausible even with the way things have gone. I'm gonna vote SSG. Okay, I mean, yeah, sue me. It is what it is. Mirage versus Beast Coast, final game of the day. So Beast Coast have yet to beat Mirage, as you can see within the NAL. 7-4, and then much more decisive yet, 7-2 last stage. Do I think Beast Coast will beat Mirage this time? I'm unsure because, I mean, they both only have 1 win. Mirage beat Xset and Beast Coast beat Xset, so it's hard to really say. Beast Coast has a better win rate because they've played fewer games. But, I mean, Mirage, you know, they beat Xset on a map that Xset looked pretty good on. Well, I guess Xset is now 1 and 2 on the map in the stage. They lost to Astralis and Mirage, and they beat Sonics. Yeah, I think Mirage is probably still a better team than Beast Coast, but I don't know. Beast Coast had that really good game when Alec popped off, but again, against Xset, so it makes things really weird. That, yeah, we'll go with Mirage just to line up with history. I mean, the trend could easily be broken. I mean, Beast Coast has had a lot of time to grow in the NAL. With, I mean, I guess only what 3 of their players are there still from the beginning, and being Bozo, Anthony, and Sippin, and now they have Alec and they have Jay, who seem to have been good additions, even if they got absolutely popped. Well, even if they did get popped by TSM and Oxygen. So maybe they can't yet compete with the top teams, but maybe they can somehow rise to the top of the bottom teams. So those are gonna be my predictions. Hopefully I don't get made a fool of, because as you can see, my prediction rate has gone down. The rate of success, I got all 4, and then I got 2 out of 3, and then I got 3 out of 4, which I guess is better than 2 out of 3, and then I got 2 out of 4, so it's going downhill. If I get 1 out of 4, absolutely egg on my face. Yeah. Okay, this isn't terribly long yet, but I mean, as far as predictions go, it probably is kind of long. Luckily, I talk quickly, so. Right. Once again, let me know what you think about the way I changed the screen with the darker colors on some of it, and let me know what you think about that NAL age video thing I was talking about, and let me know what your predictions are, if you think I'm a fool for picking SSG over Auction, or if I'm a fool for picking DZ over Sonics. Probably people won't think that, but it could be wrong. So these do look to be good games, as I was saying earlier, like the DZ Sonic rivalry thing, and then Astralis TSM. They're both, you know, struggling compared to their what was expected of them. Auction Sonics, or Space Station rather, are 2 of the top tier teams, and Mirage and Beast Coast are 2 of the bottom tier teams at the moment. So a lot of close looking matchups. Hopefully should be good games. So I'll have a video tomorrow. Maybe I will do the age thing depending on the feedback I get, which hopefully I do get some amount of feedback. And then on Thursday I should have the recap video out for this very Playday. So that's gonna do it. Until next time.